What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the HoopLifeTV Podcast. My name is Jordan Daly, and with me, as always, I have Stacey Collier and Michael White. I got that right this time. We had to redo it because I got it wrong last time. I mixed up their last name, so that's on me. But say what's up, guys.
What's going on? Let's get it.
Yeah, let's
And
go.
after a few weeks away, we have Ben Okazawa back. Say what's up.
What's going on?
So the whole crew's back. It's been a while. I think this is the first time we're all back since Hoop Life TV started. So that's fun. But we'll get right into it. We have a pretty fun episode. We're gonna start a tournament at the end of the near the end of the episode, so that'll be fun to do. All right. So first up for today, we have the Russell Westbrook and James Harden reunion over in Houston. What are your initial thoughts on that? You know, they're back together. You know, they played together in Oklahoma City, and we kind of saw how that worked out. It was okay at first, but then Harden kind of wanted more minutes, and they both kind of became ball dominant for a while. So do you guys think this will work? Do you guys think this is good for the two and the team in general? And do you think it gives them a chance to kind of go a little bit farther in the playoffs that they have in the past? We'll start with you this time, Mike.
I kind of like it. It's all about waiting and seeing. We got to see what they're going to be. I kind of like it simply because, you know, I'm very critical of Russell Westbrook, and I've been critical of him and his performances in the playoffs. But when you kind of get that, I don't know, when the team that was all in on you finally trades you and you see it's not working, you lose another, partner in Paul George who elects to go to LA after 2 years, after you threw him a whole concert at your house, you know, to get him to stay and all that type stuff. I think this might be an eye opener, and this might help Westbrook. I mean, him leaving that situation, going to Houston, learning that, you know, maybe he has to change his ways for if he wants to succeed farther in the postseason. I think this might be a good thing. I know during the regular season that, you know, they're going to run some teams out of the gym. They're going to be up and down. They're going to be exciting. But I think Westbrook in that number 2 role is kind of where he's best suited. I'm kind of eager to see if D'Antoni can actually put together something. But I like it. It was a move the Rockets needed to make. Chris Paul obviously wasn't fitting. The relationship between him and James Harden was obviously going through some troubles, even though we weren't seeing it that much. And honestly, when you look at it, it's a good trade for Houston. At the end of the day, we can say what we want about Russell Westbrook, but the fact of the matter is he's younger than Chris Paul. He's healthier than Chris Paul right now. He's a lot more athletic, and he could do some of the same things that Chris Paul could do outside of shoot, and you could probably count on him to be there for more games. So ultimately, at the end of the day, I like the move for Houston, and I'm eager to see what they do within the playoffs.
So let me ask you this, since they're both kind of, you know, ball first and, you know, they've been dubbed as stat patters, do you kind of see them playing well together, or do you think there's going to be some butting heads, or how do you think that's going to work out?
Well, I think they'll figure it out. What they got going for them is that they've played together before. You know, they've been in OKC. They're friends. I mean, as we all know, working with someone you know and working with someone you don't know are two completely different things. So I think they'll understand the sacrifice. At this point, both of these players, talking about Harden and Westbrook, should know you can't win it on your own. You know, I think that's been proven over and over. So I think they'll make the necessary sacrifices, but we're going to have to see it. We're going to have to see. I think these two are both like 1 and 2 in usage rate and turnovers. So it could be very good. It could be exciting, and it could also be an ugly game too. So I think they'll make the sacrifices to, you know, play with each other and make it work.
Okay. Stacey, what about you? What are your whole thoughts on, you know, Westbrook and Harden pairing up again?
Initially, I thought it was a very odd trade, just given the nature of both of these players. Both of them are ball-dominant players. Both of them need the ball to score, create, et cetera, et cetera. I think both of them were top 10 in isolation plays from last season as well. But, you know, thinking deeper, it was a change that was needed. You know, like Mike was bringing up, stars have come and gone in Oklahoma City, and Russell Westbrook, he has felt the bad end of things, and this is a change that he's going to need in his career. In order for this to work, he's going to have to take that number 2 role. He's going to have to take that backseat a little bit. He should understand that this is, speaking of Rockets, Harden's team. This is James Harden's team, and this team runs off James Harden. So he's going to have to take that number 2 role. My questions about this were the fit. who's going to be the playmaker out of these? Who's going to be more the point guard? Is it going to be Harden? Is it going to be Westbrook? And number two, can Mike D'Antoni coach both these players, put these players in a proper position so they can compete for an NBA title? We all know Mike D'Antoni's a very great offensive mind, but as far as him being head coach in the entire picture, he's questionable. He has had great teams in the past, but he has not got over that hump and gotten into the NBA Finals. So it'll be interesting to see how he's going to coach these two and make these two work. But I think they'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. I mean, they did play together. They are cool. They tight with each other. And they both of them are hungry to win the championship, so they're going to figure it out. As far as the Rockets' position in the West, in my opinion, I don't think it changes that much. I had them as a top 5 team in the West going into next season. I think they're going to start and finish in their top 5. And as far as them going to the NBA Finals, it's tricky to say right now because they have two of the most dominant guards in the NBA. But right now, it's not. I don't see it being enough to pass up like the Lakers, the Clippers, even the Utah Jazz, even the Denver Nuggets, who have great chemistry right now. So I mean, like Mike said, it's a wait and see approach.
So let me ask you this: you mentioned that it's kind of Harden's team, and you think that Westbrook should kind of take that second role. Do you think he's going to be fine with that? I don't know, just kind of like seeing how he's been his whole career. It's kind of all about him, I kind of want to say, and he's definitely, and it's arguable, I guess. He likes to have his stats. So do you think he's going to be willing to kind of sacrifice his stats for the well-being of the team?
Like what Mike was bringing up, this is an eye-opening situation for Russell Westbrook. If he wants to take that leap into getting a ring, then he's going to have to take a backseat, whether he likes it or not. As far as his stats, I don't think his stats are going to suffer that much. I think he's still going to, be close. But one thing that he does have to do with his time with the Houston Rockets is become more efficient. 2 of the last 3 seasons, he has shot like 42%, 45% the last 3 seasons, including his MVP year. So he's definitely going to have to step up as far as being efficient. But, I think he'll be fine with taking that number 2 role. And he's not going to lose out on that much. I mean, he's still going to, put up Russell Westbrook type numbers, but, him being the number 2 guy in Houston is what's best for him and the team.
Okay. And Ben, we'll kind of move over to you now. Last but not least, what are your whole thoughts on the Westbrook Harden reunion?
I honestly, I like it for Houston, especially like Stacey was saying. It's only going to work, in my opinion, if Russell Westbrook can put his ego aside and take that backseat to Harden, because at this point in their careers, Harden's clearly the better player. When they were playing together in OKC, Harden was coming off the bench mostly, and Russell Westbrook was the starting point guard out there. And I think that was honestly when Russ was at his best, kind of taking that backseat to KD. And now, he kind of struggled with that. I think with Paul George, he was trying to do a lot, and before PG came over, even in those last KD years, I think Russ always has wanted to do a lot, and he's doing too much at this point in his career. He's inefficient, turning over the ball, and Harden doesn't do as much of that. Harden is equally dominant, but less mistake prone, I'd say. So I think this trade only really works for the Rockets if Russ is willing to take that backseat to Harden.
Okay. And kind of shifting the tables a little bit and more looking at the Thunder and what they got out of it with CP3. A lot of the questions are if CP3 should stay with the Thunder or should he be traded? Obviously CP3 has a massive contract, and, kind of looking at the Thunder, I personally see them as a rebuilding team. They have a lot of young talent and they have a ton of picks. So what is your opinion on whether CP3 should stay in OKC or be traded?
I think, honestly, CP3, I get what you mean about it's not really, the Thunder aren't in that phase where they need a win now point guard, which CP3 is. CP3, you know, he's getting older for sure, but he could still do his thing when he's on the court. So he doesn't really fit their mold at the moment, especially given all they have right now is picks and young guys, and Steven Adams, I guess. But I think also if they do decide to keep him on, I think it would be best to trade him. But if they do decide to keep him on, he'd be a good mentor, I believe, for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's a young up-and-coming point guard. He had a great rookie season last year, and he's coming up for sure. So I think the Thunder should definitely trade him. It's in their best interest. He doesn't fit their mold, but if they can't find a trade partner for him, which I wouldn't be all that surprised about, just given his contract and, you know, he's kind of injury prone and he's getting older. So if they can't find a trade partner, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to keep him on, in my opinion.
No, I mean, I would definitely agree. I don't think anyone in the NBA really wants to take up his contract, and even thinking about the teams that are contending right now, I can't really think of a contending team that would really need Chris Paul at their service, I guess. Stacey, what are your whole thoughts on Chris Paul in Oklahoma City, whether he should stay or be traded?
I think Chris Paul is trapped in Oklahoma City. Who's going to trade for his contract at this point? Ain't he due for $42 million next season? That's a lot of money to take on, especially for a contending team. And all the contending teams pretty much have their point guard set. So I don't think he's going to go anywhere. I think he's going to be in Oklahoma City. And it's very unfortunate for him, for a guy who wants to win and a guy who wants a ring. And it looks like he's not going to get there. He's creeping up there in age. And I just don't see a trade happening. As far as a buyout, hopefully for his sake, they can reach a buyout, because like Ben was saying, Oklahoma City, they are a rebuilding franchise at this point. And Chris Paul does not fit the mold. One thing that he can provide for them if he stays, which I think he's going to stay most likely, is mentorship. I think he will be a great mentor to those young guys coming up at Oklahoma City. And they're going to be fine years to come. But as far as him being traded, I just don't see a trade. I don't see a contending team trading valuable pieces, valuable assets, draft picks for Chris Paul, age, injury, and $42 million. I don't see it at all.
Mm-hmm. Mike, would you agree, or do you kind of have different thoughts?
I agree that I don't see a lot of teams wanting to get in the Chris Paul sweepstakes at this point in his career. The only team that I could see maybe making a stretch for him is the Heat. They only have Jimmy Butler. They were obviously trying to get rid of a guy in Goran Dragic. They've tried like 3 or 4 times already. They have some other assets on their team like Kelly Olynyk, Rodney Magruder, Justice Winslow, things they could piece together. Maybe they could combine a Chris Paul and Jimmy Butler. I don't know if those egos would clash eventually, but me knowing the type of player that Chris Paul is, more of a passer than a scorer, I think he would. I mean, he's a pure point guard at the end of the day. I think he could work on a lot of teams. I don't think him being on the Heat with Jimmy Butler would really do anything. They'd be a playoff team, obviously. I don't think they'd win a championship. But if he gets stuck in OKC and he has to stay there, I mean, you still got Steven Adams. You got Danilo Gallinari, who's coming off one of his best seasons in a while in the Clippers. He was actually healthy for most of the season. So, hey, maybe you can make something work there. But you guys are mostly right that the Thunder are rebuilding. And I know the only thing on Chris Paul's mind is probably trying to win a championship. But the only team I can see maybe making a move for him is the Heat. I don't know who wants that type of contract on their books. My Lakers better not do it. I know that. So yeah, it's tough. He's in a compromising position, but hey, at least you're getting paid, man.
Yeah,
very true. All right, Ben, we'll kind of hand it over to you now for the hot take segment. It's been a while since we've done any hot takes, so I'm definitely excited to see where it takes us.
It's good to be back. First one, courtesy of Stacey. Trae Young said that he believes next year LaMelo Ball, we know him, we love him, will be a top 3 pick. And it's hard to tell because LaMelo, because of his dad, didn't take the traditional, NBA draft pick route. He was in high school and his dad pulled him out. So he went to Lithuania for a year, played professionally there, and then he went back to high school this past season, and he did his thing. I'm not gonna lie, but next year he's passing up college for Australia. So it's really hard to tell because he's not going to be playing against most of his competition. But I'll pass it on to you guys. What do you think about that, Jordan?
I've been seeing pictures. LaMelo is getting very, very tall, and that's kind of scary for a guard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I haven't looked too much into the 2020 draft class yet. But I mean, LeVar Ball talked Lonzo Ball into the second overall pick in the NBA draft.
He did do that.
He was not worthy of a second overall pick
when
looking at the rest of the draft class. So it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, LeVar Ball is a businessman when it comes down to it. So, if he gets his act together again and starts talking LaMelo up, which I'm surprised that I haven't really heard much of that yet coming from LeVar. And I don't know, maybe the Baller brand is going downhill. I mean, I heard that they were like selling all their products for like $5 at a local volleyball tournament.
I saw that.
So I don't really know what's going on with them, but I wouldn't put it past him being a top 3 pick, but I don't know. That family is very crazy. Like a lot of teams, even if he would be a top 3 talent, they're going to look at LeVar Ball as kind of an asset they're going to have to handle. So it'll definitely be something interesting to see.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's not, like, watching his highlights from Spire, he's shifty, he's tall, he's got good court vision. He can shoot, but that form is weird as...
Runs in the family.
It's a weird form, yeah. Stacey, what do you think? You think he's a top 3 pick?
I don't know about top 3 pick. Maybe top 10, top 15. We just going to have to see what he does in Australia. If he does well in Australia, then he can jump up the draft boards. But, I mean, he is very talented. I think he's the most talented ball out of the 3.
I agree.
He's a better offensive weapon than Lonzo. Lonzo is a great passer, but he's not as talented of a scorer as his brother. And he is getting tall. He's very shifty, like you just mentioned. He could be a lottery pick, but I don't know about top 3. And I think his draft stock will be hurt not due to his play, but also due to the failure of, well, quote unquote failure of Lonzo Ball as the number 2 overall pick in the draft. I think people gonna look at that like, he might be the same way. His dad gonna talk him up, and then he's not gonna meet expectations first couple of years. That could hurt him a little bit, but I think he's gonna be a exciting player to watch in the NBA next season and beyond.
Yeah, no, agreed. I about at least about his dad maybe hurting his draft stock. We'll see what happens with that. But Mike, last but not least, top 3 pick.
I don't know if he's a top 3 pick. I think he's easily a top 10 pick. He's a 6'8" point guard who can shoot and can handle the ball. I mean, I agree. He's definitely the best ball brother. I think the benefit of being the youngest, he has a little bit of Lonzo's passing ability. LiAngelo, the middle child, even though he's not NBA ready, obviously he's known for shooting. LaMelo can shoot. Obviously, we've seen that. And then he's the third child, so he has his own style, his own flavor to the game. So offensively, he's very different than Lonzo. He's a much better finisher. We won't have to worry about him missing free throws and missing layups and things of that nature. So I like LaMelo Ball. I think he has the potential to be the best ball brother out of all of them. I mean, his height, he's shot up quickly. I was watching some highlights from the Drew League. The dude is pretty good, man. A lot of people give him a lot of crap because obviously the Ball family and what LeVar brought with that and all the negative energy. I think if LeVar's learned anything, he's learned, maybe it's time to be quiet, especially with my third son. Thank God he's actually getting some NBA traction because, poor LiAngelo, we just don't know. He's not even given the opportunity or nothing. So I'm hoping LeVar's learned a lesson. I do think Lonzo was taken second to us higher, obviously, because of the talk. But at the same time, man, LaMelo is just, as I watch his game mature, that's a big thing. It's going to be his behavior, his maturity, things of that nature. That's the biggest thing I see stopping him. If from what I've seen, from what he's become and his height, the way he plays the game, I think he's easily a lottery pick, and that's why most people have him going in the lottery.
I have a conspiracy on something that Mike just brought up. Me and my friends have debated it for a while. So LeVar Ball would not stop talking. He was nonstop. My son is great. My son is like the best player in the NBA, whatever.
Right.
So me and my friends come up with a conspiracy that when LeBron James agreed to come to the Lakers, there was a clause in his contract that stated that LeVar Ball had to keep his mouth shut. Because that's right about the time where he kind of faded off into nowhere land and kind of stopped talking. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Hey, well, he violated that because he came back and started talking again as soon as he came back to America.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, actually. You know what? I might be wrong on this, but did he not say something about he was determining where Lonzo would get traded? Like, Lonzo didn't have a problem. He was like, wherever I get traded, that's it. But LeVar was like, if Lonzo gets traded to New Orleans, like, he's demanding a trade to Chicago or Miami.
Yeah, no, I didn't hear about that.
Or Phoenix. He said he was trying to get all of them. He said he was trying to get all the ball boys to Phoenix at one point. This was like when the rumors first started. Like, LeVar was like, we don't want to go to New Orleans. We want to go to Phoenix. Send us there. They'll take all our boys. Now he in Phoenix. He was like, yeah, that's where we wanted to be the whole time. Hey, look, man, you gotta roll with the punches, I guess. I don't know.
Did he try to curse the Lakers saying they won't win the championship?
Yeah,
now?
I heard about that.
Yeah.
It's just childish, and it's not helping his kids. But
I guarantee you, if the Lakers don't win a championship this year, people are gonna be like, "It's the ball curse. It's real, guys."
Hey, man, don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that.
You know, as a Boston fan for all sports, I had to deal with it for the Red Sox. I had to deal with it for don't even get me started with curses. So yeah, if it happens, it's your turn.
I don't see it. I think I like our chances.
I don't know, man. That Clippers defense is looking ridiculous.
On the perimeter,
they got Montrezl Harrell inside.
He can't handle AD.
Clippers over Lakers.
He's 6'8". He's 6'8". 6'8" ain't handling 7 foot, no matter how much of a dog he is.
That's fair.
But do you guys have Taco Fall?
Do you guys have Taco Fall?
Not yet, but we're about to. Just give it a couple days. We'll sign him.
Oh, he's gonna make the roster. I like Taco.
Yeah.
Oh, he's gonna be a beast.
Yeah.
See that video of they went on the amusement park ride where you go up and
yeah,
legs out there, everyone else's legs.
Nah, man, I love the Celtics rookie class. I don't even know how we got to the Celtics. I swear I didn't do this on purpose.
that Red Sox curse. That's what you're talking about. But I'll move on to the hot take before we get too off track. The next hot take. So our Ringer writer, Roger Sherman, wrote an article about why Joe Johnson's looking so good in the Big Three. And for those of you who don't know, Big Three is Ice Cube's 3-on-3 league, where he basically just takes retired NBA players or sort of, those kind of on and off guys in the NBA, where sometimes they're in the NBA, sometimes they're in G League, Europe, those kind of fringe NBA players and retired guys, older guys. And they play 3-on-3, and they play to 50, first one to 50 wins or whatever. And it's definitely a lot of fun to watch. I know you guys were saying you were watching a little bit of it recently.
Yeah.
So basically this guy said that the only reason Joe Johnson's looking so good is because everyone else in the league is completely washed. And he said Joe Johnson's washed too, but he's less washed than everyone else. And guys like Ice Cube and a lot of fans and other, players stuck up for Joe Johnson, they're saying that's super disrespectful. But I mean, do you guys think there's truth to what Roger Sherman said? I mean, obviously we respect the league, but is he sort of the least removed from the NBA because he's been in the NBA recently and he's still kind of one of those guys, do you think? Or do you think there's some truth to what this Roger Sherman guy is saying? Mike, we'll start with you.
I don't think there's any truth to that at all. The reason Joe Johnson's looking so good, I don't know, maybe he's heard of his nickname. His name's ISO Joe for a reason. You put him in a 3-on-3 against anybody, gonna get buckets. It's not the same. So that guy, I get what he's trying to say because these players aren't in the NBA anymore, and maybe some of them can't keep up. But some guys are actually getting workouts from the big three. Amari Stoudemire, Monte Ellis. We talk about that. There's a guy who's playing on Steven Jackson's team. I forget the name. I think it's Killer Threes. His name is Frank Nitti, who plays in the Drew League. He's a younger guy who's very good, who might get a shot at the NBA. So I'm really not trying to hear, even though I'm trying to be a writer too, I'm really not trying to hear a writer tell a group of athletes that they're washed up, especially if we got out there and tried to go at it with.
That was their response.
Yeah, like big baby Glenn Davis, who's still a solid 260, or we got out there with Steven Jackson, who's 6'8", could shoot. Like, it wouldn't even be a discussion. So, no, I'm not trying to hear that. Obviously, some of these guys can't make it on the NBA level anymore, whether that because of injury or because of age or attrition or whatever that may be. But these guys are still ballers. This is what they've been doing all their life. And obviously, if someone puts together a league of 3-on-3, these guys take it very competitively. What a lot of people say about the league today, about it being soft, a lot of those guys who are from that league that most of these people wish it was, that's where they're from. They're from that league. Even guys that, are the butt of jokes, like Kwame Brown. I don't know if he's in the league this year, but he was in the league last year getting buckets. So I don't like to listen to people like that. I love the big three. All those guys can get buckets on you. ISO Joe, he's just a stone cold killer. But I just watched him lose a game to Power with Cuttino Mobley and Corey Maggette. So obviously he's not unstoppable. He's just a great one-on-one player. If you put him in a 3-on-3 game, of course he's going to get buckets. So I'm not trying to hear all that.
Yeah, no, I agree. And if you look at the other players they got, like you said, they got Amari, they got Jason Richardson too.
Yeah, right. It's a lot of players in there.
All those guys, and they're not too far removed from the NBA either. So
right,
you can say whatever he wants. But Stacey, what do you think?
Washed. Are you kidding me? No, they're not washed up players. I mean, like Mike saying, they are a little older. They have gone through injuries. There's not really a spot for them in the NBA in today's game. But as far as washed, no. Did he forget not only ISO Joe's nickname is ISO Joe, but he was like a top 15, 20 player in the NBA in his prime, especially with the Atlanta Hawks. Did he not see that? Did he not see all these other players that were stars in the NBA? Just because they're a little older don't mean they can't get buckets. They still get buckets out there. I mean, I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, no, I agree. Jordan, are they washed or is Joe just too nice?
I'm with Mike on this. I hate when media, writers, like people like that, get on like an athlete saying like you're washed, you're not good, or you can't do this. And I'm like, you go out there and do it then. Like, show us how we should be doing it. Like media aren't basketball players for a reason. They couldn't make it. Maybe they're just jealous. I don't know what's going on, but they don't have the right to call someone washed. The only person that can call someone washed is, even though it's probably not great to do, but other basketball players can probably do that if they can back it up. But I feel like the big three, it's not the NBA, so people need to stop comparing it to the NBA. You look at football, you have the NFL, and then you have, the CFL, you had the AAF. It's just a different league, so you can't really be comparing it to the NBA. It's still a great league. If you've ever watched it, you'd know, like, it's extremely physical. There is a lot of talented players in that league. They really compete. Like, it's not a joke to them. Where like you think of the Harlem Globetrotters, it's all planned, it's all staged, it's a joke. These guys in the big three go at it. There was a video, I was talking about this a little bit ago. I think it was earlier in the week. Brian Scalabrine was going at it with some other guy. I can't remember his name, but they were going at it in the paint. And like after each play, they would like be talking smack to each other. Like it's not just a game to them. This is like they want to win real bad.
Yeah.
No, not washed at all.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's like 3-on-3, it moves faster. Like this, to some people, is kind of more fun to watch.
It's a much faster game.
It's a lot faster pace, or it's a lot more physical. I don't know. This guy clearly, and it's the kind of guy too who you already know he might say something like he could beat a WNBA player 1v1. It's people like that, and it's just.
I would pay to see that.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
No, but on the big three, before we get off of this subject, I feel like a lot of people just kind of like rip on the big three. Do you remember, guys, a couple of years ago, a reporter asked, who was it? Steven Jackson, It was like, could Kobe Bryant handle the big three? And Steven Jackson went off. He like stood up, ripped the mic off the stand.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Like people need to like stop.
First off, that was so disrespectful.
Yeah,
what a question.
Kobe Bryant can handle anything. Kobe Bryant can still be in the NBA if he wanted to. Reporters and media members like that. It's just disrespectful. Like,
and they're just a lot of what that is too. It's not even just disrespect. It's like they're trying to better themselves, or
they want views.
That Stephen A. Smith hot take to
trying to get famous,
clout. But
clout. Yeah, there we go.
Hey man,
ridiculous.
Do you? That was our last hot take. So Jordan, I'll pass it back to you for the next topic.
All right, so next up we have 2K20. They released their ratings not too long ago. We talked a little about that last week. But what they did just release, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, is pretty recent. They released the soundtrack. So we'll talk a little bit about that. You know, they had some big artists. We were going through it. There's a playlist created on Spotify. So I guess we can just talk about that a little bit, see if you guys are a fan of the soundtrack, what you guys think of it. Could they have done better? Did they do good? And you know, people that shouldn't be on there at all versus people that it's questionable why they're not on it. So, Stacey, since you're the musician of the group, we'll start with you. SC the second on on SoundCloud. Go check him out.
Freestyle. See what he's doing.
So, Stacey, I just kind of want to hear your opinion. We were going through the soundtrack a little bit earlier. What are your thoughts, initial thoughts, and kind of go from there?
My initial thoughts, it goes to what I be saying about soundtracks. You know, there gonna be some songs I like. It's gonna be some songs I never heard of. Then there gonna be songs like I don't know why they chose this and put this on this playlist. You know, about half of these songs I haven't even heard, to be honest, or haven't even heard of the artist. But I do see some bright spots that have JID from Dreamville. He's an up and coming rapper.
I like that song too. That's a good song.
Yeah. Juice WRLD, you know, he's, you know, kind of popular. Gunna's popular. Drake, they got Drake Sandra Rose. I don't know about that song. Yeah, right. I don't know about that song. Like, why?
Why? Of all the Drake songs, you picked Sandra Rose.
Of all the songs on that album, you chose Sandra Rose. I don't know about that choice at all. Meek Mill, Uptown Vibes, that's a pretty cool track. I would like to have them have like some a different choice, or maybe his intro. I like the intro better for the NBA 2K soundtrack than this song, but you know, Meek Mill's pretty solid, and they got Nipsey on her.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to them. Rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle. They got Nipsey grinding all my life. Victory lap. Appreciate that from them. So, as far as how I feel about the soundtrack, it's still a wait and listen approach. Then I get my full reaction because, like I said, I haven't heard some of these songs on there, but the other songs that I have heard are pretty solid, except Sandra Rose. I don't agree with that at all.
All right, Mike, what are your initial thoughts on the new soundtrack?
My initial thoughts on the soundtrack is average. To me, first off, they advertised it. They put Lil Wayne's name and Drake and J. Cole in big letters.
That was my big pet peeve.
That's how you get him.
There's no J. Cole songs. He's only on one feature. Lil Wayne's on one song.
Mm-hmm.
Drake, they put Sandra Rose on there, like Stacey was saying. Of all the tracks on that album, why did you put that one? I just didn't understand it. There's a lot of songs, like you guys said, that I don't know. But if you're a real 2K player, you know that these songs are going to play over and over. And eventually you're going to know every single one.
And you're going to hate every single one, no matter what.
And you're going to know every single one, and you're going to hate it. Yeah, so honestly, the biggest thing I'm impressed with the soundtrack is they announced they'll be updating as the season goes along. So that's big for me. I thought they've always should have done that. So right now, it's just an average list. It's just music to me right now. I gotta wait till the game drop and I'm playing, and we'll see how some of this music ride. But I don't like how they played me with that Cole and Drake and Wayne headline, and they got barely any songs by them. That didn't make no sense.
They got one verse apiece.
Yeah, like I don't get that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I'm extremely uncultured, so I don't really get an opinion in this. My friends make fun of me about that all the time. Hadn't seen a Marvel movie since last week, until last week. So I don't really get too strong of an opinion in this because I'm just extremely uncultured when it comes to this stuff. But I did do a listen through last night. I was playing 2K19 and I just kind of had it on shuffle. A lot of questionable stuff. There was a lot of stuff that I didn't know, so I would like put that on and it's like, who wants to listen to this while they're playing 2K? It's just an extremely weird vibe, and I don't really understand the point of it. One perk so far, aside from what Mike mentioned, how they're going to update it, I really like that idea. There's no songs that aren't in English this year. I feel like every year they put in a couple songs that aren't in English, and it makes.
Actually,
Is there one? I didn't hear one.
There's this artist it's a group from China called the Higher Brothers. Song's called 16 Hours. It's kind of like half in English, half in Mandarin. They're rappers, so it's like that. It's the kind of vibe, but like it's kind of. I don't know if I could listen to that while I'm playing 2K, but
Hey,
I want to know who comes up with these.
Basketball's global. It's because basketball's global,
Right,
man.
right.
You
gotta have that global sound.
You gotta have a little bit for everybody.
yeah.
I want to know who makes these playlists.
Right. I was about to ask that who curated this playlist.
I'm not sure who did it this year.
Back in like the early teens, I feel like they had like Jay-Z do it one year, and like they had like big name like artists like produce a soundtrack.
They should keep doing it. They should
works.
keep doing it. Yeah.
The best intro ever was the Jay-Z intro. I think that was 2K. I want to say
14?
13. It was somewhere in
Okay.
there. That was like when they first introduced like the Brooklyn Nets. That intro was hot. That's the best intro ever.
Yeah, man. I just don't know how I feel about it. Ben, what are your whole thoughts on the playlist?
Pretty much like you guys said. I don't know half these people. But honestly, I like the point Mike brought up. Like, you're gonna be if you play it enough, you're gonna start knowing these songs. Like, I'm 17. I had no clue who Phil Collins was.
Oh no!
Oh my!
Literally until I played 2K14 all
no.
the time when that first came out. In the Air Tonight.
Yeah.
I used to get so hyped when that song came on the radio. I would play the drums with them.
You didn't know what that song is?
First off, Phil Collins is a legend. Okay.
Nah,
Whatever your favorite Disney movie is, he probably did the song to it. Most
I was
likely.
gonna say, did you not watch Lion King as a child? Like,
I watched Lion King. That was
Tarzan.
Yeah, he was in like all those.
really.
One song I do like. I think it was 2K16. Imagine Dragons Radioactive.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that song. Like, I never heard that song until I played 2K, and it's a pretty good song.
All right. Article idea. If any of our writers are listening, create a 2K20 soundtrack that is better than the current one, or an all-time 2K soundtrack.
I like that.
Let's make that happen.
Also, they better be listening. Shit. But no, overall, like, I don't know. They got JID, they got Earth Gang is Dreamville also. Juice WRLD. I don't know if Juice WRLD is the vibe for 2K though.
Right.
He has some good songs though. I do like him, but yeah, I would agree. I don't know if it's the right type.
No, I like Juice WRLD, but like I like Juice WRLD when I'm driving late at night or like.
Yeah.
When I like Juice WRLD when I'm upset.
If I'm in my
feelings
girl or something, yeah, like.
That's probably what he had on when Kawhi went to the Clippers, right?
Right.
that was straight. That was something else. That was some like Mary J. Blige. I don't even know. But who else? Yeah, they got a lot of Offset. They got a Gunna song on here. Dribble Too Much, like I was telling you guys earlier, Dribble Too Much is like an Instagram personality, and I think he might be involved in the NBA in some way as a coach. He's like a handle coach, and he raps too, so he's on there with a song. And then, like I said before, you got Higher Brothers, who I know from before. I don't know if that's the vibe for 2K though. You got Saba, you got Post Malone. The weirdest thing to me, the thing that stood out the most to me, Billie Eilish makes me want to cry. When I listen to Billie Eilish, like, I don't even listen to Billie Eilish, but like the few times I've heard her songs, I'm like,
you know what song they should have had? Where's Big Chigga, Rich Brian featuring Offset? You know that guy on 2K19? He's like an Asian rapper.
The little Asian guy.
Yeah, I like his music. They should have had some more of his music on this one.
Oh man, I'm just so excited to never have to listen to those songs on 2K19 again. I'm so sick of them at this point. Oh man, those are going to the graveyard. Can't come out soon enough.
They got Nav on here too. Nav's from Toronto, Rexdale, if you know the area. Yeah, like Stacey said, you got Nipsey on there, which is nice.
When are we gonna get SC the second on there though?
Soon.
Gotta get him on there.
2K 2022, 2K 2021, we'll see.
Yeah, 21, 22.
Hey, they're updating. They're updating in 2K20. We can get Kawhi Leonard up on there.
Yep, true. Wow. Okay, I was scrolling through Ariana Grande. Like, are we serious?
Yeah, that's not a 2K vibe.
Serious? I don't know who makes this, but are we serious with Ariana Grande?
Yeah, no, thank you.
Victoria, I don't know. Motley Crue, I feel like is also not the vibe. Yeah. Okay. No, I'm not. Like, it's whatever. I'm not gonna be playing too much 2K20, so it doesn't bother me either way. But I feel bad for you guys.
It's not bad. All right. But we'll move on from that. Oh, just knocked over my entire mic. All right, we'll move on from that. One thing that we've been talking about doing for a while was to create a bracket of our all-time teams tournament. So by that, we mean a specific year of a specific team, whether it's, the 95-96 Bulls or the 2010-2011 Mavericks, specific teams. So over the past couple weeks, we've been doing some research and picking our teams. We each picked 8 teams, and it was really hard because if someone picked a team, it would take it off the table, so we'd have to kind of go back. So towards the end, there are some teams that probably shouldn't be considered on here, but we had to dig pretty deep to fill this 32 team bracket. But what we did was we plugged it into a random generator, and it gave it random seedings. So we're going to go through and kind of debate. We're going to try to be as unbiased as possible here, right, guys?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to try my best.
And yeah, we have the seedings. So we'll go, team by team and kind of debate what team would win and move on to the next round. So our first matchup, the 2010-2011 Mavericks, which was Ben's pick, versus the 1966-1967 Philadelphia 76ers, which was Stacey's pick. So Ben, since the 2010-2011 Mavericks were a year pick, we'll let you go first.
All right, who am I playing again?
You are playing the 1966-1967 76ers by Stacey.
Okay. All right, that's a good team. I won't put up too much of a fight, but we had Jason Kidd.
I hate sneezing.
We had Sean Marion. I feel like Sean Marion's underrated in the grand scheme of things. Obviously, Dirk was doing his thing back then. Dirk was filthy in that year. Jason Terry, obviously an all-time great. Peja Stojakovic. Tyson Chandler, Caron Butler, Corey Brewer. I feel like we had a decent squad, but I don't know. The 66-67 Sixers are a whole squad, so I don't know if I won't put up too much of a fight. But let's hear what you have to say.
I'm gonna let Stacey go next, but I think Mike's argument's gonna come very handy for you. Stacey, up to you.
Okay, look, I know that this team is from 1966 and 1967. I know that, but they got one person on this team that makes the whole lot of difference between the two. Wilt Chamberlain. Mm-hmm. You tell me who's stopping Wilt Chamberlain on this Mavericks team. None of them.
Alexis Ajinça is 7'2". That French guy, like he was.
He's getting ate up in the paint. He's not stopping.
In the Mavericks' defense, they also had Tyson Chandler, who was pretty much in his prime at this point. So defensive player of the year type, I think. This was Tyson Chandler in 2010-11, a lot younger. So, I mean, he ain't doing nothing with Wilt Chamberlain, but, I mean, he can make it tough.
And here's my thing.
He getting Tyson in foul trouble. Tyson fouling out the game.
They got Brendan Haywood, 7 foot. Alex Ajinça, 7'2". I mean, they got bodies.
That's what I'm saying. Like Wilt played against, tallest person Wilt played against was probably like 6'10". Wilt was like a man playing with kids. Tyson Chandler 7'1", Alexis Ajinça 7'2". Listen, I don't know how we're doing this era swap thing, and I'll never deny Wilt's dominance, but
I bet you in this series Wilt would average 50, but the Mavericks would win. But Wilt would get all his buckets.
They won't win. Dirk probably the only one that's getting buckets on this team. You forget how physical back then in the 60s. And this is the same team that stopped the Celtics run. Remember, the Celtics was dominant at this point, and they're the ones that stopped them. So I'm just saying.
Thank you, Stacey.
I just don't know if I can give it to you. When I look at the Mavericks, I see Jason Terry, I see Peja Stojakovic, Sean Marion, Jason Kidd, Hall of Fame point guard, Dirk in his prime. I just don't think those, unless you could tell me about somebody on the Sixers outside of Wilt that I don't know, other than Hal Greer. I told you, that's it. That's the only person I know. I don't think they got enough. I don't think they'd be putting up enough points to beat them. That's my only thing. Because even though they may have stopped the Celtics back then, it was a different NBA, a different type of game. I think these Mavericks could put up the points, though, even though Wilt would dominate them in every way possible.
Yeah, I feel like it would be Wilt versus the 2010-2011 Mavericks in this situation. But yeah,
not on the Sixers at that point.
You said what?
Dr. J, he wasn't on the Sixers at that point.
Oh no,
absolutely.
That was before his time. Okay.
Yeah, that's before him.
Way before.
Okay, that's what I was thinking about when you said 7 Sixers. I was like, shit, Wilt and Dr. J.
Okay. No.
All right, that was well before Wilt's or Dr. J's time. Got it. Okay. All
right. So let's put this to a vote. Stacey, we'll start with you. Who are you voting for in this matchup?
Wilt Chamberlain.
Wilt Chamberlain. Okay. Mike, who are you voting for in this?
Give me the Mavericks.
I would have to agree with the Mavericks. Ben, what's your vote?
Man, this was supposed to be my team to debate for. I feel like Mike swayed me first. I'll go Mavs too.
All right, the Mavericks are going to take it on that one. So the 66-67 Sixers are out.
All right. Let's see what we got. Okay, this is a good one next. I don't even need to look up now.
Oh, no. All right, so the next matchup, this is going to be very quick. Stacey has his team of the 96-97 Bulls, and I have the 06-07 Spurs. Stacey, you can go first.
Jordan. I think it's gonna be a clean sweep. Okay, 96-97 Bulls. You know, within the Bulls previously that year went 72-10, right? This team went 69-13. And they have Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. Nobody on Spurs is stopping both of those players. And Dennis Rodman, too. Yeah, there's nothing more that needs to be said. Bulls all the way.
White flag, please.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
I don't think this one has much debate in it. Is it all 4 votes for the 96-97 Bulls? Is there anything that has to be said on this?
Move them on.
I will say this about the Spurs. I don't think they get swept. That's all I'll say. I don't think this team had Bruce Bowen. You know, I'm looking at their roster. They had Bruce Bowen.
It was a good team. We just got a bad matchup Duncan. Right here.
Yeah, this is just a horrible matchup for you. I think they'll go down like a gentleman's sweep. I think they're worth a win. A win.
Awesome. I'll take it.
That is a tough first round matchup for sure.
The next matchup, it is a matchup between 2 of my teams. So regardless, I'm losing 2 teams right off the bat here, which is not fun. We have the 86-87 Lakers versus the 01-02 Lakers.
Ooh, 01-02 Lakers.
Mike, I'm going to let you start it off since you're the Lakers guy here.
86-87 Lakers, 01-02 Lakers. So that's tough. So obviously you got Kobe and Shaq. Enough said about that. You got it. Oh, wait, this is Magic in his prime, too. 86, 87. You got Kareem, Michael Cooper, AC Green. Worthy. I'm going to take the 86-87 Lakers. I know Shaq. I know Kobe. Don't get on me. Kobe's still my guy, my favorite player. Don't do it. But when I look at the 86-87 Lakers, if this would have been like the 90-91 Lakers, I might have chose the 01-02 Lakers. But Magic in his prime, Worthy in his prime, Kareem not in his prime, but still unblockable shot. So he would have something to go against Shaq with, even though Shaq is obviously the big guy. Michael Cooper, AC Green. I like the 86-87 Lakers roster top to bottom, even though I like Shaq and Kobe as that dominant duo. So I'm going to take the 86-87 Lakers.
Okay. Stacey, what about you?
It's tough.
This is a tough one.
This is a tough one.
I don't. I'm going to edge it to the 01-02 Lakers.
Ooh.
I'm going to edge it just because I don't think nobody on that team is stopping Shaq.
That's what I'm saying.
Or keeping up with Kobe's scoring pace. I know Magic Johnson,
it's showtime.
Yeah, it's Magic Johnson, but I think Kareem at this point was getting up there in age. And James Worthy, I don't know if he can match up. I don't know if he can match up with Kobe. So I'm going to take the 01-02 Lakers.
All right, Ben, who do you have winning here?
I just think, I know what you mean about the 86-87 Lakers have a better overall roster. Who's the third best player on the 01-02 Lakers? Eddie Jones, Rick Fox.
Third best player on that team. Got Kobe, Shaq, maybe Derek Fisher, maybe Rick Fox, maybe Robert Horry.
Oh, big shot, Rob. Let's go.
He's not better than but see, he's not better than the third best player you could say on the. They got a big three: Worthy, Johnson, Kareem, Byron Scott, AC Green, Michael Cooper, Michael Thompson.
All I'm trying to say, listen, you said Kareem has that unblockable shot, but he never had to shoot it against Shaq. He never had to shoot it against Shaquille O'Neal.
Hey.
And he never had to play defense on Shaquille O'Neal either. Shaq was in his prime in 01-02. Shaq was something else.
I'll put it to you like this. It's only 3 players that whole season for the 01-02 Lakers averaged double figures. That's Kobe at 25, Shaq at 27, Derek Fisher at 11. The 86-87 Lakers have Magic at 23, Worthy at 19, Byron Scott at 17, Kareem at 17, AC Green at 10, Michael Cooper at 10, Michael Thompson at 10. Hey, look, man. Strength in numbers is looking pretty
Mike
good
is shutting it down right now.
It's looking good.
Oh, man. Mike's good at this game.
It's tough, though, because Kobe's my favorite player. So it's tough. It's tough.
I just think Kobe and Shaq have a different kind of dominance.
Yeah, that's true.
That could compete against all Lakers. 5 of those.
That roster is just so deep.
What happens in the event of a tie then?
Is it a tie right now?
Yeah, I have 01-02.
What we got? Jordan, who did you say?
86-87 Lakers.
Oh, man, it's a tie. We don't got no one to do a tiebreaker. What do we do?
We're going to do a coin flip.
All right, hey, easiest way to do it.
All right. Yep. Heads is going to be the 86-87 Lakers. Tails is going to be the 01-02 Lakers. I'm going to flip it. Oh, I lost it. It is tails. What was tails?
I don't remember, man.
86-87. Let's go.
Are you sure?
Let's go. I'm not sure, but let's go.
We're going to listen back to this later, and it's going to be so wrong. But whatever. 86-87 Lakers take it. I have no idea if that's what the coin flip was.
It's fine. I was on the fence anyway. It's fine.
Yeah, me too.
It's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Yeah, that was a tough one.
That's probably our best one so far.
Definitely, yeah. Our next matchup is between me and Mike. We have the 85-86 Celtics, and Mike has the 94-95 Orlando Magic. Mike, we'll let you defend your team first.
Well, 94-95 Magic, Shaq, Penny. That's about all I got for you probably in this battle against a powerhouse, a full team. So it just depends. Are you taking that young Shaq and Penny Hardaway, who were close to a championship, but weren't ready for Hakeem the Dream? It's tough, but I would probably side your way with the Celtics.
NBA Finals champs, baby.
Yeah.
Dominance.
Larry Bird, Danny Ainge, even Rick Carlisle's on the squad.
It was great. Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish, Bill Walton was on even at that point.
Johnson, yeah, that's tough.
Squad. Stacey, any input on this one?
I'm going with the Magic on this one.
Ooh, I like that, Stacey.
I'm going with the Magic on this.
Take a stand.
What? I know. Look. I know your Celtics team is very deep. They got the
dominance.
But you tell me what player on that team is stopping Shaquille O'Neal. This Shaquille O'Neal with the ball handling.
Parrish and McHale will shut him down.
Full court ball handling, passing the ball, dunking, bringing down the rim, breaking the backboard.
Who shut down Larry Bird?
Larry Bird, he just be on his own. We ain't got Larry Bird is Larry Bird, but Kevin McHale gonna have problems with Shaq. This Shaq, and then you have Penny Hardaway. People sleep on Penny. I know he there were all those injuries, but he was one of the most talented point guards to play the game.
And he was nice.
Yeah.
And he was nice.
Nice.
All right, so you're voting for the Magic. Ben, what about you? Who are you taking here?
Listen, you said they just had Shaq and Penny. Horace Grant was nice in his day. He was on the Bulls for a time. Dennis Scott, Triple D. Donald Royal. I don't know. Brian Shaw. Listen, when I used to play 2K14, I'm gonna talk about 2K14 a lot if we're talking about 2K because that's the only one I had. And you had the Legends Edition or whatever, where you had all the throwback teams. I play with the 94-95 Magic a lot, so I might be kind of biased. I'm gonna try my best not to be biased, but this was a nice squad just outside of Penny and Shaq. And even if it was just Penny and Shaq, they were a good duo in their prime there. I don't know. Talk to me about that Celtics lineup. I'm looking at the Magic roster right now.
Yeah, Larry Bird, right? Kevin McHale. Robert Parrish. Danny Ainge. This squad. This was the peak dominance of the Celtics. NBA Finals championships. Let me ask you this. Did the Magic win that year? The 94-95 year?
No.
No, they didn't. But the Celtics won this year.
Okay, sure. I'll take the Celtics.
There you go.
Come on now. How you gonna turn your back on 2K14? How you gonna turn your back on 2K14?
I don't know. It took a lot.
All right. The Celtics are taking it. Moving on to the 5th round. Man, I have a lot of my teams going up right off the bat. All right, Mike, you have the 2011-2012 Oklahoma City Thunder.
Great team.
Versus the 95-96 Bulls.
Yeah,
this is pretty much a quick debate. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll make it short and sweet. I think this is one of the most underappreciated teams of all time. Unfortunately,
I would agree with that, though.
Unfortunately, they were young at this point. They lost to a Miami Heat team with LeBron and D Wade. I know goddamn well they're gonna lose to Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. So hey, I just wanted to show them some love.
No, it was definitely a good pick. So far, what I've noticed is like a lot of the matchups, just like they're kind of like bad matchups.
Yeah.
You're taking a lot of teams out right away. All right, Ben, the next round is your 88-89 Pistons versus my 2011-2012 Miami Heat. So Ben, we'll start with you. How you feeling?
I love this team. I love this bad boys. I love this team. Let me go through. Daryl Dawkins, Joe DeMars, Bill Laimbeer, Dennis Rodman, of course the original Isaiah Thomas. I don't know, Mark Aguirre. Is that how you say it? Mark Aguirre? Is that how you say his name? Mark Aguirre?
Yeah, Mark Aguirre.
I don't know, but
you didn't butcher it as bad as Vander Wedgie last week, so you're good.
Vander Wedgie.
Oh man,
that was classic.
What happened there? I don't think I heard of that.
We were doing a draft and
gotta remind me, huh?
Yeah, we were doing a draft on 2K of like all the all-time players of all time, and there was a guy named Kiki Vandeweghe available. So we had Jordan reading off the teams, and he was like, "Yeah, some guy named Kiki Vandeweghe still left. You guys want him?"
Oh man. Yeah, good times.
This is a good little matchup.
That's funny. No, listen, these guys didn't back down from anyone. Did they? They didn't. Yeah, they got their chip this year. That was the year they got their chip.
We got 2 NBA champions, I think.
Yeah.
Isaiah Thomas, fighter, Dennis Rodman. None of these guys. These guys, it's the epitome of when you say the old NBA, the physical NBA. Like when people say that's what they missed, this is the team they're talking about in a nutshell.
Give me the Pistons.
Right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Dawkins slightly out of his
It's a good matchup, though. You know, the 2011-2012 Heat, that was with LeBron, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. That was a solid big three. I don't think they had Ray Allen yet. I think that was a little bit after. But they had.
That was a year after.
Yeah, so, I mean, it was a solid team, but, yeah, I feel like I got to go. I don't know. I'm trying to think of
boys.
who on the Pistons would stop LeBron. Like, that's my only question.
Oh my God, any one of them.
But they were just so physical.
Straight up knock out Braun in the.
Yeah.
Braun would whine about everything.
And they have Rodman too. I mean, they got bodies to throw. Then you got Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Vinnie Johnson, the microwave. Hey, Bad boys.
All right, we're going Pistons on this one.
Some LeBron fan out there is probably like, no, they didn't choose LeBron in his prime.
It's all right. I hate LeBron, so blame me.
I don't know. Isaiah Thomas, he was at that time he was doing his thing. He was nasty.
All right, moving on to the second to last round we'll do for the night. We have Ben versus Mike. Ben has the 1970-1971 Milwaukee Bucks versus Mike with the 1997-1998 San Antonio Spurs.
Yes, sir.
Ben, defend your Bucks.
All right, who do we have? I'm pulling up the roster right now, but off the top of my head, I know we had Oscar Robertson, triple-double king. Let's see if we had
the Big O.
Big O. I'm sure you had Big O.
Kareem. I was making, we did have Oscar Robertson. I was making sure we had Kareem.
Kareem, yeah.
Got Bob Dandridge. I don't know. That's like all. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know a lot of these guys, but I know Oscar Robertson. I know Kareem. I know Bob Dandridge, and I know. Wow, all these guys were born.
They were the NBA champions that year too.
NBA champions. I don't know. Oscar Robertson and Kareem. That's a filthy. That's a nice duo. And I don't know who are we up against.
97-98.
97-98 Spurs.
So you're up against Tim Duncan.
Okay, I'm up against Robinson and Duncan,
Robinson and Duncan, Avery Johnson, Monty Williams was on that team, Vinny Del Negro, Sean Elliott. Nice little squad. They got nothing for Kareem. I mean, they got Robinson and Duncan though. That's what you got to see what will win off though on that trade.
This is a tough one.
I got to look at that Bucks roster. I got to look at it.
Right now, I'm leaning towards the Bucks just a little bit.
Yeah, me too, Joe.
But like, someone could say one thing and then I'd switch. It's just like really close.
I feel like a fake NBA fan right now because, like, I know further back than some people I know, but outside of Kareem and Bob Dandridge and Oscar Robertson, I know none of these guys.
Hold on, I'm looking at the squad. Okay, so they had Oscar Robertson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bob Dandridge, Gary Freeman. Look, man, I'm taking the Spurs, man. Look, I'm taking my pick. Avery Johnson.
Winkler.
Yeah, I don't know most of them. Let's look at their stats. Let's look at their stats for that year. Kareem averaged 31, 6, and 16 rebounds.
Shut down Kareem. That's what it comes down to, I feel like.
I think David Robinson could do it.
Really?
Oh, the Admiral. I think he could.
David Robinson.
Down Kareem?
Or no, I mean no one can shut down Kareem, but he could slow him down at least.
Both David Robinson and Tim Duncan averaged plus 20 points and plus 10 rebounds. So at least you got something to combat Kareem. It all just depends on, are you taking Tim Duncan and David Robinson, or are you taking Oscar Robertson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? If you put it to me like that, I might take the Bucks.
Yeah.
If you put it to me like that.
Say, honestly, like and it's tough because I know none of these guys outside of like the big two that they have plus Bob Dandridge, and I don't even I've just heard his name before.
Right.
So, but I know like Spurs are more recent. I know more of their supporting cast.
Yeah.
And like the truth is, some of these guys on the Bucks could have been nice in their day, but like I don't know. Let me see if I can look at stats and stuff. But I don't know. For now, I don't want to take up too much time, so I'll just.
We'll just take the vote. We'll have to take a vote.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, Stacey, are you taking the Bucks or the Spurs?
I'm taking the Bucks in this one.
All right, Mike, what about you? Bucks or Spurs?
I can't pick against Afro Kareem. The Bucks, man. I can't pick against Afro Kareem. That's Lou Alcindor. That's who that is. Yeah. That's not even Kareem.
Before he changes his name, I'm gonna take the Bucks as well. Ben,
I would have gone Spurs, but
wow,
doesn't matter at this point. Me and Mike flipped.
Yeah, it don't matter. 3-1. 3-1.
It's all good.
He gave you that sympathy vote. I like that.
Not even sympathy.
It's the gentleman's vote. All right, and the last round we will do for today, which is only half of the first round, so we'll pick it up next week. We have Stacey versus Mike. I don't think we've had a matchup like this yet. It's going to be the 96-97 Jazz for Stacey versus the 05-06 Miami Heat for Mike.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mike, defend that Heat team.
Well, that Heat team is crazy because you got Dwayne Wade, who probably gave you the best finals since Jordan. All right, I'm sure the Utah Jazz don't want to see that. So then you got that. Then you add Shaq on that team, who's still somewhat in his prime, only, a year removed from being LA. So he's still, one of the most dominant players in the league. That team also had Alonzo Mourning, Udonis Haslem, Jason Capono, obviously
Antoine Walker, Celtics.
Like this squad, this 05, this 06 team is stacked. There's a reason they won the championship. They got defense, they got shooters, like you said, Antoine Walker, D Wade, Jason Williams, Darrell Wright. Oh yeah, I'm good with my Heat on that.
All right, Stacey, how you feeling about the Jazz?
I'm feeling about the Jazz. The mailman, Karl Malone, is on this team. Karl Malone is on this team, and John Stockton, one of the best point guards in NBA history, dropping them down low. Then you still have Jeff Hornacek, and then this team went 64-18 that year. And if it wasn't for the famous flu game, they probably would have won the championship. So, I'm going to take the Jazz. But that Heat team was a bit stacked. But I don't know if Heat Shaq can handle Karl Malone. I don't know about that.
I feel like that Jazz team is probably one of the more underrated teams in the history of the NBA.
And it's only because of Jordan. It's literally only because of Jordan.
Yeah.
If Jordan wasn't there, they would have easily got that chip.
Yeah, they were dominant that year. Dominant. Until they met Jordan.
All right. So any last arguments before we put this to a vote?
I think D-Wade, we can talk about that.
I think they'll probably put Mourning. So if I had to run it, because they were starting Mourning and Shaq, so I'd probably put Mourning on Karl Malone. Obviously, Malone he's his bucket getter. He's gonna get buckets, but I'd probably put Malone on him. Probably put Shaq on Ostertag. D Wade, who's guarding D Wade? It ain't Stockton. I don't think Hornacek hold him. D Wade from that year.
Do your best, Hornacek.
Yeah, you gotta see what would happen. It would be tough though to see which dynamic would win. Would it be D Wade or Shaq or Stockton and Malone? So role players would be important.
You got Stockton and Malone. Come on now.
Yeah, hey,
Stockton and Malone. Let's go.
All right, we're gonna put this to a vote. Mike, we're gonna start with you.
I'm going with my Heat, man. I'm sticking with the Heat.
All right, Stacey.
Jazz.
All right, Ben.
I think D-Wade kind of carried that Heat team offensively a little bit. I'm gonna go Jazz because you got Malone and Stockton doing their thing. But
yeah, go ahead, get that Jazz vote. Go ahead.
I am so stuck right now. I feel like Miami Heat has a pretty deep roster and a lot of able bodies that can play. But I also feel like the Jazz are, like I said earlier, the most underrated team in the history of the NBA, and especially like John Stockton and the Mailman, probably most underrated duo as well. This is hard, guys. I don't like being the deciding vote.
This is tough. You got to make a big boy decision.
I am going to go... I'm going to go the Miami Heat on this one.
Oh, there we go.
Flipping a coin.
I just feel like the depth of the Heat overruns the Jazz. What happens if Stockton gets hurt first minute of the game? They're done. Whereas the Heat could lose Dwayne Wade and they'd probably still be fine.
They won't.
Gary Payton, they just start beating Shaq.
They lose Dwayne Wade in this game. It's a wrap.
But who's stopping Shaq on the Jazz?
Wade scored a lot. Wade scored a lot of their points in that.
Yeah, he did. Though.
He scored a lot. Of their points.
I think Shaq this year, what he averaged just 20 or something like that. 17, 20 between.
I forgot.
All right, we're gonna flip the coin now. All right, let's remember what I set these parameters as, so we don't just guess this time. All right, heads is going to be the Jazz.
Got it.
Tails is going to be the Heat. We're flipping it. Oh shit! It is tails.
Oh, it's the Heat.
It is the Miami Heat.
That's the shame. That's the shame.
It's just like history. They're underrated again.
Yeah, again. You're going to do this to Mike. Mike, you proud of yourself. You're going to do this to the Jazz
That's
again.
2 coin flips tonight. Killing it.
Oh, man. All right, but that is the first half of the first round. This episode's getting pretty long, so we'll probably cut it here. But just a look at some of the matchups for next week, and we'll pick it right back up because off-season's slow and we have nothing better to do. First matchup is going to be the 12-13 Heat versus the 01-02 Kings. The 08-09 Nuggets versus the 95-96 Sonics. the 97-98 Jazz versus the 65-66 Celtics, the 15-16 Cavs versus the 17-18 Warriors, the 71-72 Lakers versus the 06-07 Warriors, the 07-08 Celtics versus the Golden State Warriors of 2016-2017, the 03-04 Detroit Pistons versus the 93-94 Houston Rockets, and the 13-14 Spurs versus the 2000-2001 Lakers. So still a ton of good matchups to come. It's even going to get harder, I think, the deeper we get into it. The only bad takeaway from this so far is since we did the random generator, I feel like a lot of good teams got put up with like top 1 or 2 teams so far. So it kind of wiped out like a really good team right off the bat. It's been close so far. There's been some really good matchups. So far, I think the best matchup was the 86-87 versus the 01-02 Lakers.
Yeah, that was tough.
That was really hard to pick.
Yeah, that one was.
You already said a tough one I'm dreading to think about for next time. The 03-04 Pistons versus the 93-94 Rockets. I got to go think about that for a while.
What I find
You're debating yourself in that.
Right? I got to go think about that.
What I find really funny, though, is one of the second-round matchups already, I'm debating myself, the 86-87 Lakers versus the 85-86 Celtics.
Ooh.
So that is going to be extremely fun.
Yeah, we got to talk about that
one. Yeah, I'll argue to the death on that one. But yeah, we'll call it an episode. It's been pretty fun. Let us know if you guys like, whether on Twitter or whatever. Let us know if you like us doing these like tournament style things and kind of unique rather than just like talking about, oh, there was a trade. We try to keep unique topics and stuff that hasn't really been seen anywhere else. We kind of like doing things like that. So definitely let us know on Twitter, Facebook, whatever you're following us on. But yeah, other than that, do you guys have anything else?
Nope. Good.
Oh, good.
No? All right. Then that's going to do it for episode 15 of the Hoop Life TV podcast. Make sure to go check out our website at HoopLifeTV.com. We put this podcast on YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, pretty much any major streaming service provider that's out there. So make sure to follow us on all of our social medias as well. I'll link that down below. And until next time, peace.